The countdown to 2025 is upon us, and we will be there in T minus 7 days at the time of recording this video. And I thought, what better to do than to run through 5 fights for 2025 that we need to see in 2025. That is poor phrasing right there. However, I could have done 25 fights because it's 2025, but this would also be a 1 hour long video full of random fights no one really cares about. But I've got the 5 most important fights I can think of that we need to see in 2025. Okay, starting off with the obvious one: Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Now, before anything happens, we need to have Dana White actually promote Tom Aspinall instead of just sucking off Jon Jones the entire time. My man is on every single podcast. Bun off Tom Aspinall. Now, he's the most promotable fighter in the business. He wants to fight. He wants to be champ. He doesn't care about money. He just wants to be. He wants the champion belt, and he's got the shortest average fight time. He knocks everyone out within a round, and he's still sucking off Jon Jones in these bloody podcasts every time. We need to sort Dana White. We need to get him to actually promote some fighters other than his boy Jon Jones, right? In terms of who wins this fight, I've got Tom Aspinall as the favorite. I will also be telling you who I think the betting odds for these fights will be, because they are quite important. They're like, you never see a broke bookie. You get me? You never see a broke bookie or a bookie that doesn't have any money, because they make these fights. They're not any of these like, oh, we're gonna glaze Jon Jones. This is what I think they're gonna do, because Tom Aspinall will just run through him, in my opinion. In my opinion, but I think the only way that Jon Jones wins is if he gets Aspinall down and manages to like mentally break him, which I can see happening. But I do think Tom Aspinall whops him within a round. Moving on. Ankalaev versus Pereira. We need to see this fight. Can we stop the ducking? Like we called it out for Jones last time because he is ducking. This is like, if Pereira wants to come back, he has to do it against Magomed Ankalaev. There's no other way around this. We have to crack down on this a little bit. We can't just come along and keep saying, "Oh, it's Pereira. He's the face of the company." We need to make sure that he fights Magomed Ankalaev, because if he doesn't, we're just giving fighter privileges to whoever we want. Ankalaev obviously has turned down 2 title fights previously. If he turns down a third one and then keeps saying that Pereira's ducking him, then we're going to have a nice chat about what these guys actually end up doing. But I can see this happening in May. I can see it happening in April. Pereira says he wants to come back in March, which is during Ramadan, so I can't see that happening. But it might happen. Who knows? Imagine he fights the winner of Hill versus Prohaska, and Ankalaev just gets ducked again. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Going into the fight, I don't think Ankalaev's going to be the favorite. People are saying, oh, Ankalaev's a heavy grappler. He's going to beat Pereira. Listen, Ankalaev ain't no Khabib. This brother, he managed to get down Blachowicz, and he managed to get a decent amount of control against Blachowicz. Keep in mind that fight was a draw. He has a big weakness in leg kicks. He has solved it sort of by checking quite a few against Rakic, but he did lose that entire first round based off leg kicks. Pereira's got really nasty leg kicks. He is a southpaw, which Pereira does struggle with, and he does like to grapple a little bit. But I still think Pereira's got the advantage on the feet, and if he doesn't, pull guillotine like a moron, I think he keeps it on the feet for the most part of this fight, and probably wins by knockout or even by a decision. I think he wins a close decision as well. I think Pereira wins, and I think the bookies know Pereira wins, so that's why I think I've got him as a minus 200 favourite and Ankalaev as a plus 200 favourite. These are all going to be pretty close matchups. There's not really going to be any that's going to be like, plus 700, like Jones versus Miocic. That was a stupid matchup. Whoever the matchmakers need to get fired for that one. Moving on, Topuria versus Lopez. I think this needs to be made. Obviously, people are saying Evloev deserves the shot. I mean, good win over Sterling, but Evloev hasn't had a 5-rounder in his entire career. He's gone to a decision every time, and he's never fought past the 3rd round before, but he's never fought before the 3rd round either. He's only ever had 3-round fights, and he's gone to decision every single time. Can we please put the exciting guy who knocks people out in the 1st round in Lopez against the exciting guy who knocks everyone out in Topuria? That's a bull versus bull matchup. I want to see it, because Lopez has a better chance of beating Topuria than bloody Evloev does, right? Well, at least I hope so. If we get Evloev as champ at the end of this, then the entire division's ruined forever, and we should just shut down the entire company. On top of that, I do not want Topuria to move up to lightweight. I know he says he's wants to take out Charles Oliveira. Dudes, you've got unfinished business at featherweight, and as long as a Volkanovski matchup is not even on, don't even bring up Volkanovski. Get that man, feed him to Evloev, feed him to Lopez if you have to, feed him to random featherweights, make him have a y'all must have forgot performance, right? Before he gets back in there with the guy that knocks him out last year. You get me? He's like out stiff, by the way. Not even like, oh, TKO, ground and pound. Out cold. Didn't even need ground and pound. Don't put him back in there. Otherwise, he's 3 consecutive knockouts. He's washed. You get what I mean? I think it'll be a minus 300 for Topuria. I can see him knocking out Lopez, but I can see Lopez getting upsets of the first round. But, you never see a broke bookie. They're betting their money on Topuria. That's all I'm saying. Pantoja versus Figueiredo. I saw MMA Guru make a video about this, so naturally I have to make a video about this. That's kind of how this works. But it is a good matchup, to be fair, and it makes sense in terms of the flyweight division, especially with Manel Cap making his run down through the division. It gives him more time to catch up, and also there's not really anything left for Figueiredo because he just got fraud checked by Yan. Unless he wants to fight Sanhagen and maybe try and get back into the picture, but even like at the bantamweight picture, he's like 3 years later. And how old's Figueiredo? He's like 35, is he? Let me just check quickly. He's 37 years of age. I've just looked at. That's kind of mental. He's gonna retire soon. Give him a title shot against Pantoja. Flyweight division, he can make flyweight. Like, come on, look, like he can make flyweight. He's made it before. And he's the only guy to really drop Pantoja, so he might as well. I think he beat him as well. Did he beat him? Yeah, he did beat him. So might as well run this back, do a second fight, or third fight. Oh, bro, I really need to do my research before going. Okay, right, second fight. Do a second fight, hit him in the rematch, get Pantoja to avenge his loss. Then you got a star in well, not really a star, but you got a better. You got Pantoja with his stock going up, and then you got Figueiredo retiring. This is a good fight. I can see Pantoja being a favourite here. I know Figgy did drop him, and he did also win the first fight, but he's 37. He's gonna be the underdog going into this fight. If this fight even does happen, I don't even see the UFC matchmakers. I can see the UFC matchmakers doing bloody Pantoja versus Kai Kara France or Manel Cap. I mean, Manel Cap's threatening to go to Dana White's house in Vegas and like storm it if he doesn't get the title. I will move on. Last matchup, I've gone a little bit crazy with this one. Islam Makhachev versus Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. Why not? Why not get these two? They train together. Well, they did train together. I mean, Belal, he kind of wants a little bit of a fan base, and if he goes with these Muslim fighters, not Muslim fighters, Russian fighters, who just so all happen to be Muslim as well. He gets his shot at a fan base because these guys are very hardcore fans. And Belal, well, before he got the title, he literally had 5, and now he's got the title. He's now got a bunch of fans, whatever. He's living life good. I think if this happens, Islam definitely wins, and the bookies know Islam win, and that's why they're going to put him as a major favourite. I mean, Belal, good wrestling, Islam's better. Belal's striking's terrible. Let's just be real. He's got a decent jab, that's about it. On the feet, he couldn't hit Leon for toffee. He did rock Leon, and I don't know how he was, kind of piecing him up a little bit. And then he was piecing him up in one moment, and you was seeing another moment where he whiffed 5 clean as day shots and then gets cracked with a jab. He's poor on the feet, very inconsistent. His grappling's good, but it doesn't work against a guy who's equally as good at grappling to him. Islam would absolutely maul him. That's the end of this video. Let me know what you thought of it if you even made it to this point. I'm going to bed. Good night. Goodbye. See you in 2025.